90% of managers ignore one skill. The 10% who master it, they become the leaders that everyone wants to follow. In today's session, we're going to go through what exactly is that one skill and how to develop it in only 1 week. The one skill that separates managers from leaders is emotional intelligence and specifically active listening. Managers just hear the word, but the leader would hear what people need, what frustrates them, and what scares them. And they leverage all of this information to make better decisions. So here's an example. You ask someone how they're feeling while you're passing by, and they say, "I'm fine." A manager would just hear the words. Don't pay attention to the tone, to what's under the words that are being said, what's the body language. A leader right away notices that there's something going on. They stop and they ask, what's really going on? And they try to understand what is going on before it turns to a crisis. But here's what most of managers don't see is coming. 82% of employees said they left their job because of a bad manager, not because of bad pay, not because of bad benefit, a bad manager. And a bad manager usually is not a bad person, it's just a manager who doesn't know how to listen and understand their teams. So a manager, as an example, asks, why did you not finish your task on time? Why a leader would ask, what is blocking you from doing your best work? One is transactional, while the other builds trust. And trust is what is required to build psychological safety and, of course, high-performing teams. Here's how we're gonna develop active listening in just 1 week using a framework I call 3L. Listen, learn, lead. In the first 2 days, we're gonna focus on the listen part. Here's how you're gonna do it. You will have one-on-ones with every single person in your team. If you have a really large team, try to then focus on the most influential people in your team. Those are usually your team leads. And you're gonna ask 5 questions. What part of your job gives you the most energy? What drains you? What's the one thing I could do to make your work easier? What's your career goals in the next 12 months? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how supported do you feel right now? And then, this is critical. Listen, don't jump in, don't solution. Just collect the feedback that the teams give you because we need it for step 2, which is pattern recognition exercise. When you collect all the information, you sit and spend 30 minutes to go through these patterns. What theme comes up? What surprised you? What did you assume which was wrong? What's the one thing you could change this week that would impact multiple people? Write it down. That would be your strategic insight. You basically want to identify the lowest hanging fruit. Now, day 3 to 4, you're going to focus on learn, which is basically you want to identify what's that most common pain point in the team, and then what is actually the root cause. So behind the words that people say, what is it sitting that you want to identify and take out? So as an example, the team said consistently that we have too many meetings. Well, you want to figure out why do we have too many meetings. So you're going to go through this mirroring exercise. It could look like this. Why do you think we have so many meetings? Well, because we need alignment across teams. We need alignment across teams? Yeah, because people are not clear on who owns what. We're not clear on who owns what? Yeah, because the roles and responsibility are not explicitly written anywhere. At that point, you know that, and you remember probably that when you explain to the team the process that you're putting in place, you probably didn't put together a RACI, or you didn't explicitly explain that who owns what. So the team keeps meeting because they're not clear on who should do what, who's the lead, who's gonna collect information versus analyzing information. And that's the reason that creates so many meetings for the team. That's active listening. You're not blaming your team for having too many meetings. You're trying to understand the why behind it and then trying to help them and support them to fix that problem and enable and empower them. The next step is the blocker audit. You want to write down top 3 blockers that the team mentioned in their conversations, and you want to go through these questions. Is this a real constraint or a perceived one? Can I remove it? If yes, how? If no, so if it's an organizational process, how can I make it easier? Have I been part of the problem? You need to be brutally honest with yourself when it comes to this exercise, and especially you need to write down what is it that you need to change as the leader that would really unblock the team to move forward. Now, in day 5 to 7, we're going to focus on the lead part. Based on all the things that you learn through the discovery and listen and learn, pick 3 macro wins that you can deliver this week. The first macro win, I'm going to focus on removing one obstacle. Did someone mention a recurring frustration? It could look like this. So the team consistently says your approval takes a long time to receive, and you have a lot of emails. Those email requests keeps getting buried. A simple solution for it would be to just delegate your approval to someone in your team that you know they're going to do their due diligence. So then you're not going to be a bottleneck for the team to receive approvals before move on to the next step. Macro win number 2 is connecting a task to a why of the organization or the team. So this week, for every task that you assign, explain the purpose behind it. As an example, instead of saying, can you please work on that dashboard? You can say, can you please work on that dashboard? Leadership and executives gonna leverage that dashboard to make budget decisions for our team. So your accuracy really gonna impact our team's resources for next fiscal year. You see the difference? It's the same task, but now instead of they having just a checklist that they're gonna fill through their 9 to 5, they're gonna see the impact and the purpose behind it. They're gonna be motivated to make sure that they're doing their due diligence so well because they know the impact of them not doing their job well. And the last macro win is public recognition. So when someone does a good job, don't just say good job. Recognize them in front of everyone. I want to call out specific thing you did. Here's the impact it had. And then talk about real outcome. That's exactly the kind of quality we need more on. Do these recognitions publicly because first of all, you want the team to see that what is a right behavior and that also you see those right behaviors and you recognize them. Now, I know we talked about a lot of steps and action items to go through in just 1 week. That's why I created a 1 week action plan, how to develop active listening for free, and you can download it from the link in the description, where I put together the exact questions to ask, the template for follow-ups, and a printable tracker. And if you want to learn more about emotional intelligence in depth, watch my next video when I go through the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence.